Well, we finally get to day 4, and that's when the sun and the moon show up. So don't forget, don't get bent out of shape about 24 hours, not 24 hours. The sun shows up on day 4. You need a sun to have an actual 24-hour day. But the text is not trying to be a scientific treatise. It's trying to tell us where we came from, that God did it, it was good, and he does it by fashioning and separating, creating boundaries. That's the important part. And so we look and we see that verse 14, God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to do what? Separate day from night. There's the division, there's the boundaries, there's the borders. Day is day, night is night, near the two shall meet. Let them be signs for seasons and for days and years. You think about it, we have 7 days in a week. Where did that come from? Right from here. That's where we get the 7-day week, and seasons and all of this stuff is governed by the sun and the moon, as the tides are governed by the moon. This is all by design. Let them be lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth. And it was so. All he does is speak it. Verse 16, and God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night, and he made the stars. What's he doing? He just created the sun, the moon, the stars. God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth and to rule over the day. That's an interesting term, to rule over the day, because he's going to then have spheres of governance. That's another form of division. Mankind is going to be given rule over the planet, caretaker. So we're introducing a term here. The sun and the moon are ruling over the day and over the night, in a sense, and to separate the light from the darkness. He repeated it again. He said it again. This is again saying it. That's important. This concept of separation, light and darkness. And God saw that it was, you got it, good, repeated, can't miss it. There was evening, there was morning, 4th day. Day 5 is an explosion of life, maybe even a Cambrian explosion of life. And in day 5, God says in verse 20, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures. Cool. All of a sudden, that which was empty in the seas becomes full. That which was elements now become animated. Where does life come from? There was a very famous atheistic philosopher named Anthony Flew, and he wrote a book that was called There Is No God. He crossed out the word no and he put in there is a God, because towards the end of his life he came to reason that there was a God, and there were a couple of reasons why, and one of which is no matter how much time he allowed for evolution, he could not understand how something that is inanimate becomes animate, how something that's not alive becomes alive. Think about that. How much chance does it take? You stir a bowl with all these elements, but what makes it alive? Another thing he couldn't come to understand is, how can we be conscious? I know that I know that I'm here, I'm me, I'm not you. How do I know that? How does pond scum all of a sudden say, ooh, I'm pond scum? Or someone that's human say, I'm human and I'm not a frog? Where does consciousness come from? Anthony Flew determined there has to be a greater being who can give that, an infinite being who gives to finite beings awareness, life, personality, consciousness. And that's what the Bible is also saying. So in day 5, the waters are teeming and the birds fly above the earth and across the expanse of the heavens. Verse 21, so God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, catch this, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Keep in mind, when we get to the law, which is not in the prequel, but later on in the Bible, the law is all about divisions and boundaries. This is clean, this is unclean. Don't mix clean, don't mix unclean. It's clean, it's unclean. It goes right back to creation. God saw that it was good because he made things according to its kind. And when we step out of that order, that's when things get all messed up. That's when it gets out of order. That will happen in chapter 3. When God gives a command, we break the command, it's out of order, and we usher in this thing called death. Verse 22, God blessed them, saying, now here's a command that we see for the first time, that God is giving to things that are alive. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. He's later going to tell man and woman, be fruitful and multiply, But first he says it to all things that are living. Procreate. There was evening, there was morning, fifth day. Now a lot is going to happen on the sixth day. That's where we show up. Let's look at the sixth day.